I often go into middle schools and high schools to talk about the importance of managing money responsibly, and they very frequently love to talk about millionaires and learn about millionaire lifestyles and so forth. It's not because I believe this is the most important goal we should have. In fact, I don't think it should be a goal at all. Financial goals should not be based on amounts, but on what is most important to us. But the middle schoolers and high schoolers react well to it, and so we do talk about this. So let's talk about what it takes to become a millionaire. How do most millionaires become millionaires? One of the first things we do is we talk about the pathways to becoming a millionaire. What is it? And I'll ask them, how do most millionaires become millionaires? Or who are the millionaires that you can think of? And after an initial list of high-profile billionaires, I'll ask them, let's bring it down a little to a millionaire, and they will then start identifying quite often a professional athlete, one of their favorite athletes. Perhaps they will talk about a movie star, an actor or an actress that they really like, because they know that they make a lot of money on some of these big, huge movie releases. They will, and this is a little more recent, especially even in middle school, they'll talk about becoming a YouTuber, somebody who they are following on online. They like to watch them play video games, or they like to learn some new information about whatever the YouTuber has found for their niche. But a YouTuber, they might say, "Oh, so and so." They'll name a famous musician, or rapper, rock artist, rock band, or somebody who is they download their music, and so they believe that's where a lot of millionaires are in music. There's a lot of shows on TV that promote this, from America's Got Talent and The Voice and so forth. They will name just celebrities, somebody who is just famous, maybe doesn't have any necessary job other than they are on TV or on their phones, and they see them regularly and see the lifestyle that they're living and assume that is what a normal millionaire is. They will bring up the idea that millionaires, to become a millionaire, you might have to win the lottery. So they do generally understand that most millionaires are not lottery winners, and there's not many that win smaller lotteries will ever be millionaires, or if they do, stay millionaires. Or they will then say, well, then it's the millionaire is somebody who's inherited all their money. Most millionaires inherit their money, and so we'll talk a little about that from time to time in the classroom. So want to let you know, if you want more information on this sort of topic, a great series to start with, and that most of this presentation is based on, is called The Millionaire Next Door. Originally came out in 1996 by Dr. Stanley and Dr. Danko. The most recent 2019 copyright for The Next Millionaire Next Door by Dr. Stanley and his daughter Sarah Stanley Fala. Great information. There's a lot of books out there, though, that have provide information very similar and debunk a lot of the myths about who the millionaires are and what their lifestyle is truly like. Okay, so let's define what a millionaire is. Is a millionaire somebody who is making $1 million a year? That's what a lot of the high schoolers will first say when I ask them, what's a millionaire? And so I will then reply, okay, if a millionaire is somebody who's making $1 million a year, what if I'm making $1 million but spending $1.5 million? Am I still a millionaire? Obviously, that doesn't make sense to them, so they said, okay, well, then no, it's not just an income, and it really isn't. Most millionaires do not have massive incomes in the $1 million range. In fact, it is in the lower six figures. So it's not a paycheck. Well, how about this idea of a lifestyle? Because we do equate millionaires with a lifestyle because of what we see in the media and on our phones and so forth. So there's two sayings I like to share from Texas. I'm not from Texas, but I love what they say down there. One of them is the saying is "big hat, no cattle." Basically, you can have the lifestyle, you can show off with the clothes, but if you don't have the ranch behind you, you're not. That it's just for show. That's really what a lot of the lifestyle is. Not all people who drive the fancy cars or live in the big homes or wear the fancy clothes are paupers in the background, but many people are living and buying that kind of lifestyle just for the show and really don't have the income or the wealth behind them. And that's why the second saying from Texas, the $30,000 or the $40,000 or the $50,000 millionaire is so appropriate, that we try and live the lifestyle of the rich and famous when we really don't have the income or the assets. So here's what I would agree with the Millionaire Next Door series, that to define a millionaire, you take your assets, what you own, so real estate investments, stocks, bonds, businesses, cash in the bank, you add that, and then you subtract what you owe, any debts. And if what is left over is $1 million or more, then that's a millionaire. Now, I agree, typically don't include your primary residence, since you still need a place to live, and you can't just convert that to cash and live without a home. So assets minus liability, pretty straightforward. All right, so who are the millionaires? Are we talking about these celebrities and professional athletes? Well, let's get into this. There are, by the way, at the time of this recording, we are approaching 12 million millionaires in the U.S. It is growing probably by nearly 250,000, I would estimate, per year at the moment. And so let's see. Let's start off with our celebrities and professional athletes and actors. If every single one of the professional athletes, actors, and musicians were millionaires, it would equate to this tiny little strip right there. And yet we know that not all athletes, actors, musicians, YouTubers are millionaires. There just aren't that many of them. And many of them that do have large incomes do not sustain that income once they are out of their professional sports league, or they don't have another album, and so it's not sustainable. So it's really uncommon. If you had a room full of millionaires, typical millionaires, you would not find any of these backgrounds there. So let's talk about this big group here: professionals, professionals who work, who are employees. These are employees, but by professionals, I'm talking about physicians, dentists, attorneys, accountants, and they might work for a hospital or for another practice or firm owner, but their income is pretty high generally, and they're able to convert that. Not all, but many are able to convert that into long-lasting wealth. Then you have this group here that are the professionals and also own their own practice or firm. So a little under half of professionals, physicians, will own their own practice. And they do make up about 40%, 35 to 40% of the total millionaires in this country: physicians, attorneys, accountants, dentists, professionals. Then you have another group here of other small business owners. By small business owners, I'm not talking about small business owner is we're not. It's not a business with 2,000 employees. So not the big businesses that we read about on Wall Street and that we hear about on the news. It's a store around the corner. It's an office that we pass every day. Might have no employees, just the owner. It might have 5 employees or maybe 50 employees. But typically 3, 4, 5 employees even. And what kind of business might they be in? Well, it could be tech. It could be retail. It might be construction. Well, I won't go into that here, some more details in just a moment, but it's a variety there. And then the remaining percentage here are just all other potential employment opportunities. There are teachers, there are first responders. I've met millionaires that work as deputies in the county jail. I've met millionaires who are employees at nonprofits. You can find millionaires just about in any profession, any career in this country. Yes, the higher the income, the more likely somebody is to become a millionaire, but that doesn't mean that that's the only way to do it. So, as I mentioned, here are the professions. You've got the attorneys, you've got the physicians, you've got accountants, but business owners that might be in construction, that might be in landscaping. They might own a laundromat or a dry cleaning business. There are actually quite a few farmers. And people are usually surprised when I do say that, I tell them that there are a lot of teachers among the millionaires. It's hard to become a teacher on a starting teacher's salary, but there are many who do and can do it on their own as teachers. And there are others that are teachers and that belong to a two-income household, and they're adding their income to the other income in the household and are able to become millionaires. So teachers are actually quite common. All right, so let's go ahead and move on and continue with your course.